Hi everyone, and welcome back to Simply Renee. My name is Renee, and today I just want to tell you about how I do my budget and manage my money on a personal level. And before I begin, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed, watched, liked, shared, and commented my videos. I truly appreciate it as it helps me to grow. And for anyone who's new here, I do Sunday Reads with Renee, which is more just book topics and book reviews, and I also do a variety of things for Wednesday, and I am considering doing something for Friday, though it hasn't been decided yet. But right now it's just Sunday Reads with Renee on Sundays, and Wednesdays I do just random little videos, whether it's recipes or just things like this, which I'm going to talk about finance, or even days in the life or weekends in the life. Now, to talk about today's video, I'm going to be showing you again just how I manage my money on a personal finance example with budgeting and the tools I use. But before I begin, I just want to disclose that this is going to be more voiceovers and visuals than anything else because unfortunately my throat is a little bit scratchy and I just want to give you an idea in that sense with more visuals than anything else. And I don't want to put too much pressure on my voice right now. And also, I'm not going to be showing you a realistic finance from my perspective. I'm not going to be putting my income or anything like that because I'm just not comfortable doing that yet. So I'm going to be giving you more examples of just how my systems work and everything to give you inspiration. I know the system isn't for everyone, but I want to give you a little bit of inspiration in how I do things. If it's helpful or something to consider, I hope you will because I do think this is very good in terms of managing your finances and reflections. And if you have any ideas about how you manage money or the tools that you use, please be sure to put them in the comments because I'd love to hear from you and welcome all discussions. Also, another disclaimer, I am not a financial expert or advisor, therefore everything here in this video is my own opinion from my own experience, and I advise everyone to do their own research. The method I use for budgeting is Kakeibo, which is the Japanese art of saving money, and I took this inspiration from the book of the same title by Fumiko Chiba. And this is just a very good budgeting system that I really enjoy. It asks for specific questions. How much do you want to save? How much do you want to spend? How much money do you have? How would you like to improve? So not only do I find it a very good budgeting system, but I also think it's very beneficial in asking these questions to yourself, giving a bit of self-reflection, and seeing where your goals are. To use this method, I look at the month. So whether that's January, February, or October, I think of everything that's coming in for those months. When it comes to how much money will be coming in, that includes my income and anything extra that is a type of pay. So whether it's a weekly or bi-weekly paycheck and the total comes out to $2,500, let's say. And then if I do a freelance job and after taxes it comes to $150, I add that up and get $2,650 for my total income of the month. Now I'm going to take that $2,650 and subtract it from whatever I have going out, which are more of what you would call a fixed cost. So that includes gym membership, subscriptions, healthcare, dental, your rent, mortgage, utilities, anything there. And you add all that up and it comes to, let's say, $1,850. So $2,650 minus $1,850 is $800 you have left be available to spend. But then you have to ask how much you want to save, which let's say is $150. So you subtract 800 from $150 that you want to save, and what you have left over to spend is $650. Now that you only have $650 to spend for the month, you'll need to divide that up from however many weeks are in a month. So let's say you're in a month that has 4 weeks, so therefore you're going to divide $650 from 4 weeks, and therefore you're going to be spending $162.50 each week. And that is going to be your total budget for the entire week. So that is the basic budgeting method. And I usually do paper form, so I'm just showing you what I've done, taken inspiration from Chiba's book, and just showing you how I've done it and worked it into paper form. So this is just a financial checkup, and I took inspiration from Chiba's book, though I tweaked it a little bit from what he referenced, though it is pretty much the same thing, and I do think financial checkups are good. Doing this each week and each month is a good way to make sure you're maintaining your budget and keeping things in order. So for the weekly checkup, this is what I've done from inspiration of Chiba's book. I put down this week, which whatever is the week, whether that be January 11th through the 17th, or even January 18th through the 24th. You just write that down in the This Week column. And then you put the weekly budget. So if you had $162.50 to do, then you're going to do $162.50 just for that week. And then you're just going to put how much you spent. So there's a category, a budget, amount spent, and a remaining. So for category, if I put grocery store, how much do I have for the weekly budget of the groceries? I'd probably put, well, let's say $112. And then I put the amount spent, which would be $100. And so what do I have left over from that grocery budget for the week? $12. And if I had to spend gas that week, I'll put gas in the category. For the budget, I'm going to put, let's say, $20. And then the amount spent, I'm going to put $20. And then remaining is $0. So I just have $12 remaining at the end of the week. And then I do some reflections. Did I keep to the weekly budget? How did I feel about the monthly budget? Did anything occur that week where I might have spent beyond the budget? What are my accomplishments and what can I improve? And then I just put my basic reflections. And I do the same when it comes to the monthly budget, which you do at the end just to kind of go over your own sense of reflection. You do an overview of how much you wanted to spend for the month, and then you do how much you were able to reach your goals, such as how much did you have available to spend this month? How much did you want to spend? How much have you spent? And what are your savings? And then you just do a bit of reflection. Did you meet your target? Did you find time to save money? And what are the ways to do so? What areas did you spend too much on? What can you change next month and how you can improve? And then I do additional stuff just to make sure I keep track of things that help me with my weekly, monthly budget. And what I do is that I look at a calendar and I write down everything that is coming up for due dates and my paydays. So if I have, let's say, January 8th is a payday, I put down payday, how much that is, and if it's going into my checking account, because normally people do a lot of direct deposit these days. So it's going to go direct deposit into my paycheck, and I'm just going to write that down for January 8th. And because it's a bi-weekly paycheck, the next time I get paid will be 2 weeks from then. So it's going to be the 22nd of January that I get my next payday. And I just put down the amount and where it's going to go. So it's going to be direct deposit into my checking account. And I also use the calendar method for different things to keep track of my basic bills as well. My healthcare is always due on the 23rd, so it's going to come to, let's say, $113. That's the monthly payment. And what do I pay it by? It's by check. I always do check because I find that to be easier than just having it come out directly through my account, because I had some issues with it one time and I decided to just go back to check. And then there's also the fact that I have a dental care, which comes out of my checking account, no issues there. And so I make sure that I have it come out of my checking account by writing it down on the due date, the 28th, how much it is, which is $41. And therefore, I take it out of my checking account automatically. So I write all of that down with those types of bills, and these are just a couple of those examples. But I also use the calendar to take note of some other things as well, just to make sure I keep track of the spending I have in case I don't have my financial checkup method on me. So if I spend, say, $50 on groceries on the 9th of January, I'll put $50. And how did I pay? I paid by cash, so I put cash. How did I pay for my gas on that day? $20 by cash, so I'll put $20 by cash. And this is just the basic overview because I want to make sure that I have everything on disposal of all my payment methods, because I do cash, debit card, and checks. So I want to make sure I know what's getting paid with what. That way I can keep all my finances in one place. And the calendar method works well for that because I can see it all in one setting, and I'm very good with that. I also do a daily reflection, and I took this as inspiration from Michelle Singletary's The 21-Day Financial Fast. And I'll leave some links of this in the description along with my budgeting method. And this is something I like because I feel it helps me understand things about my finances well to give me more general daily reflection. So the 30-day spending journal is pretty simple. It's just the date, the expense item or items, amount spent, what was the items for, was it a want or a need, and why? So let's say on January 9th, I spent $50 on groceries and $20 on gas. So I write all of this down in the journal and then I express, was it a want or a need? The gas was a need because I needed to make sure I had my car filled up so I could get to where I had to go. And if I was low on gas, that worked out well for me. And the need for the groceries of $50 because I need to eat and have some things for my lunches, breakfasts, and dinners. And let's say you also had another expense item there that could be added, like $5 for coffee. And was that a want or a need? It was a want because I forgot to drink my coffee in the morning. And could I do a way to improve that? I could make my coffee in the morning or put it in a to-go cup. Therefore, I'll save $5. And then there's the monthly financial journal. And this monthly financial journal also comes from Michelle Singletary's book. And this is a good way to just kind of keep a record daily of your finances and just how you feel about that. And the finances is a pretty good way for reflection. So you're going to put the date, which let's say is January 9th. And then you're going to ask what was easy about today, and you just put your own reflections, but you can also put what was hard about today, what you learned today. How did you feel about your finances? And so let's say January 9th is the date. And what was easy about today? Well, let's see. I spent $75 today. And it wasn't that easy, but I did keep it under $100 completely. And what was hard about today? Today it's just that I spent $75 where I actually think I could make room for improvement. What did I learn today? Well, I learned that I could have saved $5 by not buying that coffee from my local shop and instead just putting my coffee into go cup or drinking it at home if I found the time in the morning. And the $70 came from groceries and gas, which were a need, so I feel okay about that. How did I feel about my finances today? I felt all right, but I really don't like the fact that I sent $75 that day, and I need to find a way to save more money and think about my finances a bit because while some things were a need, because I have to get the gas and the groceries, the $5 coffee was more of a want, so I got to find a way to curb that. And that is how I do my personal finance. And I know it seems like a lot, but for me it works well because I do think this really helps me to keep things organized and managed. And I do find that I like to take the time at the end to really just go over it and do these financial checkups and see what I'm doing wrong, where I could go better, what I'm accomplishing that still works in the long haul, or any types of reflections. I do think the reflections are very important. So that way I can reflect, oh, what did I accomplish and am most proud of? What did I fail at that I can improve? What can I do to get better or stay on the track? Am I meeting my targeted goals? So having that reflection is very good, but also just going over it in paper form works well for me. I know some people prefer apps and electronics, and that's perfectly fine as well. But if you have any ideas of how you manage money and want to share, please do so in the comments and let me know because I like to hear from everyone and welcome all discussions. Also, I will be leaving some of those links in the description just so you can do your own research on that and see if it works for you or gives you an idea going forward because there are a lot of resources at your disposal, but these are just the ones that I use. I thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bells for more videos. I'll be back with more shorts this week, so be on the lookout for that. But I'll also return this Sunday with another video for Sunday Reads with Renee, and next Wednesday for another video as well. And I'll see you next time. Bye.